Good afternoon. Welcome to Camp 3 News with the beautiful Debi Evans.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Ants. Lovely
and
to
good
be here.
afternoon, Raoul. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Raoul.
Are you having any 2020 deja vu feelings at the moment? Because I certainly am this week. It's a bit weird, is it not?
Tons of deja vu. Honestly, I actually wrote a post on X about I've got deja vu. And of course now, I'm thinking that we're all referring now to the meningitis cases that have just well, they're all over the news, aren't they, at the moment? But yeah, total deja vu. But what concerns me is that the people, hi Joanna.
Hello, Joanna.
But the people that are now promoting, and we'll get into more about the meningitis, I know, but the people are promoting it, are saying, oh, here we go, that those people are now comparing it to COVID and it's different. Well, hello folks, I'm still seeing big deja vu, but let's get into it.
Honestly, I can't believe it, me. It's just here we go again. So I was in the hospital the other day with my partner, and we were in the waiting room, and this news report. So I don't watch the news, you know, because I just
very wise.
I just don't. The TV is never goes on, and I recommend anyone to just keep your TV switched off anyway. But so we're in the waiting room, and the BBC's on, and I'm like looking at the TV, and I'm like, oh my God, are we back to 2020? Are we seriously back?
I'm afraid so. I'm afraid we are. I'm afraid we are. And what worries me most is this is the youngsters that are being targeted, according to Wes Streeting. I mean, not my word, Wes Streeting's word, targeted. So, you know, we've got kids that are running around in masks. We've got kids that are terrified, parents that are terrified. We've got queues. I think the news was, the last time I looked, Kent University, and in Kent and Canterbury, I think they were saying that queues had started at 7 o'clock this morning for jabs. We'll talk about jabs in a minute, but the queues had started at 7 o'clock this morning, and that people were trying to push in. They were that desperate to get their jab. And yesterday they proudly said they vaccinated 2,300. And today, an average of 250 to 300 an hour. Let that sink in.
Okay, so we'll get into all this because we're going to have to, aren't we?
Yeah. So.
If we can start with the news report that was breaking, I would like to just pass some comment on. Well, I mean, we'll probably look at this news report differently to most people. I don't know. Maybe some people in the chat can join in on what they think as well. But this is the one that started it for me. What I witnessed, and it was from Sky News.
I'm just going to go and speak to some of the people who've come here. And Josh, you're not actually a student here, nor is your sister, but she is in hospital at the moment with suspected meningitis.
That's correct. Yeah, we found out overnight that she was in hospital. So yeah.
I mean, that must be hugely concerning for all of you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it shows you, sort of shakes your day a little bit. I can tell you that.
She's not too poorly, I understand, at the moment.
No. So as far as I'm aware, she's actually just spoken to the consultant. Again, they're going to keep her in a little bit longer, but as to the best of my knowledge, I've just spoken to my mum and she seems okay. So yeah.
Thank goodness for that. So you're here to get the antibiotics?
Absolutely. Yeah. Obviously, having been Mother's Day yesterday, we were together.
I'm just going to go and speak to some of the people.
I mean, obviously the report was kind of longer than that. That's quite a short clip, but my first feeling, because she went down the line at one point and all these students are wearing masks and everything else, but she's not wearing a mask, so she didn't seem very worried.
No, she didn't at all. And you know, I'm a mum, And my son, at the age of 3 weeks old, had meningococcal septicemia. So I can speak with a little bit of experience as a parent on this. Now, when my son, it's more common in babies and the 11 to 25 range, I think, is when meningococcal or meningitis meningococcal septicemia seems to occur. My son was 3 weeks old, and it was super quick, right? If he had been older, there would have been no talking to a consultant. It was super quick. He became very floppy. He became very sick. In fact, it was overnight. When I went to sleep, he was fine.
Yeah.
And I woke up the next morning and he'd slept through, and I couldn't work out why, because he was only 3 weeks old and he was waking up for regular feeds, right? But he didn't. And I was exhausted, and I woke up in the morning and he was like a floppy doll. And if I hadn't have gotten him to hospital, and the junior doctor at the time, who I never know his name because he saved his life, who gave him antibiotics, right, saved his life. He was floppy, unconscious, he was grey, he was dead almost.
Wow.
So meningococcal septicemia, sepsis is very quick and very scary and very frightening, and I get that. I get that. But we have to put this into proportion here, that sadly 2 people have died. 2 people. And then hundreds of others are now being suspected, and they're saying that it's spread to France, it's now spread to London. So they're saying that this is a super meningitis, if you like. So I mean, we'll talk about a different variant. It's
it's always a different variant, isn't there?
Of course it is. Neisseria meningitidis. It's got a D-I-D-I-S on the end.
We'll have an ID in there, wouldn't it?
Honestly, yeah, there's no escaping ID.
As is COVID.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, normally there are about, I don't know, fewer than 400 cases a year. So this isn't common, but it's not uncommon. And a lot of people carry this in their nose and in their throat all the time. All the time. It's only when it gets into the bloodstream that it causes a big problem. And meningitis, the meninges are the layers of the brain. It's the kind of coverings of the brain. When I was doing my state finals, we always had to know what the meninges was, and I could never remember. So I'd remember Debi and some people. And Debi is the dura mater. So that's the outer layer of the protective, what's protecting the brain. And then you've got the arachnoid under that. And then you've got the subarachnoid space, and the space is where the cerebrospinal fluid goes all down your spine. And that's relevant for when we talk about lumbar punctures and diagnosing meningitis. So you've got the subarachnoid space, and then right by the brain, you've got the pia mater, which is a very thin membrane. So you've got these layers of protection over the brain. So if the brain becomes swollen, infected, inflamed, you're not in a great place, right? So no one knows quite why this sudden outbreak has taken place, but I've got a few theories that I want to throw out to people, because Pegasus, lots of people are talking about Pegasus, and I know that you're going to talk about Pegasus because
you can talk about it. We'll just bring the images while you're talking about Pegasus.
Well, I mean,
it's fine, you know.
I'm not going to say too much about pandemic preparedness and the update on Exercise Pegasus and the involvement of meningitis in it.
Yeah.
And disease X in it as well, because a lot of people online and a lot of people that are watching will know of the link between Pegasus and meningitis and what we're seeing now. So we know that we've got the Pegasus link, but we've also got a number of other links. So did you know, for example, that we've got a meningitis vaccine project? Did you know that? Not many people do, but this is all to do with the WHO. This is a big World Health Organization, aka Bill Gates, CEPI, Gavi, the whole thing. The whole thing, a meningitis vaccine project. And I'm looking at, well, this started, I think it was in 2015, the meningitis vaccine project in Africa. Now, did you know that there was something called the meningitis belt? Because I didn't know that there was a meningitis belt, but there is. And you've just got to page it into the search bar. I'm not sure if you've got a link.
I'm just trying to find this now. Yeah, I'm going to bring this up now.
Yeah.
It's on Wikipedia, isn't it? So let me.
Meningitis belt, and I want people to remember where this outbreak has taken place. So it's Kent. So this is the African meningitis belt. So it's
Mhm.
sub-Saharan Africa. So it's extending from Senegal to Ethiopia, and it includes a number of countries there. You can see Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria, Niger, Ghana, also
Cameroon.
South Sudan, Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Chad, Central African Republic. There's loads there. Now, it seems to be that the season, if you like, is between December and June. So
Okay.
my question is if we look at this outbreak that's taken place in Kent in a club with lots of young people, and I mean, come on, we know what
Called
clubs are like.
Chemistry, wasn't it? Chemistry.
was,
That's
yeah,
a very apt name.
Yeah, exactly. Chemistry club. But we're not that old that we don't remember how close you get in a club, right? You go to a club, you dance, you maybe have a snog, you maybe have a last dance. You know what clubs are like, full of young people having fun. Great. But this is in Kent, and this is the gateway, of course, for all the boats. And we're receiving a lot of people into our country coming from those very areas within that African meningitis belt. Now, I'm not saying that that's got anything to do with this outbreak. What I'm just saying is that there's a dot here. I'm joining dots.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing an entry port of people coming in young, fit, healthy, maybe not, Muslim, often Muslim men. And of course, gentlemen have needs. We all know that. And what better place to meet young ladies than at a local club? Or maybe you're at the college, maybe you're at university, maybe you've come in on a visa. I don't know. And Debs, I'm really not having this. I'm still having septicemia meningitis 3. I survived and in good health. I'm so sorry your daughter died from it. I am so sorry. And that, of course, is the tragedy. For me, there for the grace of God go I, because my son is now a healthy 30-year-old dad to 2, and you can survive. Luckily, he got the correct antibiotics at the right time. But it is really, really rapid and quick and scary. And I'm so sorry.
So
And
how do you catch this then? Can it be caught? I mean, they're saying that, I presume. Otherwise, why would they want to vaccinate people? I don't.
Strange you say that. You see, because the WHO were going on about aerosol. What?
Right.
And I've always known it as kissing, close contact.
Right.
That's generally how you catch it, but it sits in your nasopharynx. It sits there, so anybody could have it. But what they're saying now is that it's developing into maybe it's got superpowers apparently. So when you think about superpowers, and when you look back at Exercise Pegasus, they're also desperately looking for disease X. Now, only last month in South Korea, there was a pandemic preparedness exercise carried out in South Korea. Yeah. And you think, well, Bill Gates has been hunting with the germ team for disease X for ages. And now all of a sudden we're seeing meningitis with superpowers. That's what they're calling it. They're saying it's superpowers. It's got variants. It's mutating. It's doing this. It's doing that.
Yeah.
And Dr. Philip Macmillan has also got a very interesting theory as well on the nasopharynx. Go and have a look at his videos on his theory and his hypothesis of what's been going on with other bugs that sit in the nasopharynx. And once you get a whole bunch of them, you get trouble. So, and he says humming clears the nasopharynx. So, I mean, go and have a look at his videos. But there's so much to say about this meningitis. There we go. Korea test pandemic vaccine strategy with joint tabletop exercise. And this is looking for disease X. And Pegasus was also talking about disease X. Gavi, the WHO, they're all looking for disease X. I'll take a breath now and let you speak.
Well, no, there's a lot of what I'm seeing though with patterns. That's what I'm seeing at the moment. I don't know what's going on because I'm not there. I've not been affected by this personally. So all I'm seeing is what I'm seeing when I was in the hospital room and I saw it on TV, what I'm seeing on social media, the news reports that are coming in. I don't know what's really happening. And I could say that during 2020 as well, because there wasn't anything happening to me, but I was being coerced and pressured to close my business down, to treat people in a certain way, which I refused to do, to potentially vaccinate with an injection that I didn't know what it was, to vaccinate my kids when I didn't know what it was, and these were the pressures that everybody was put under, and I'm just seeing patterns. I'm seeing patterns with that. I'm seeing patterns, and we'll get to the Iran war in a bit, but I'm just seeing patterns with everything that kind of just all links into the same kind of thing again of Agenda 2030. All very convenient stuff. I'm not saying that nobody's fallen ill in any shape or form, because sadly these things happen. And all I'm doing is at the moment is trying to question what's going on. Normally there's in this world, in my understanding of the research I've been doing over the past 14 years, is they will create order from chaos. So generally they will create a chaos situation to create the order, and the vaccines will make them a lot of money. So we can bring that up in a way, if they're talking £330 for a vaccine, and there's a number, by the way, 33 that's in there, which they use quite a lot. If you're new to this kind of work, it's quite interesting how the number 33 is used quite a lot. So I don't know what's going on, but I will continue to ask questions. I think it's important always to ask questions, to be skeptical, to be critical, and I don't know.
So what I'm seeing is, with COVID, I could never understand why they were looking for a vaccine when a vaccine would take 10 years to develop and a pandemic would burn itself out in 3 years anyway. So it didn't make sense. This doesn't make sense giving vaccines now anyway, because the vaccines that you have to give, supposedly for meningitis B, are a month apart. So you give dose 1 and then a month later you give dose 2. That's not going to protect anybody now. The way that I was... this is what happened when my son had meningococcal septicemia. All contacts, as soon as he was diagnosed, all contacts with him had to have antibiotic coverage. So we were given an antibiotic called rifampicin. Now, what they're giving at the moment is ciprofloxacin. Now, ciprofloxacin is potentially very dangerous. And there's a lot of information about ciprofloxacin, and also about the serious adverse reactions, some of them psychiatric adverse reactions, brain fog, physical side reactions, terrible side reactions, and they hesitate to give out these antibiotics. However, they're giving them out like sweeties. In my day, it was rifampicin, but rifampicin is also got serious adverse reactions, but it's in short supply because it's used for tuberculosis. So that's in short supply. Meanwhile, the vaccine, which they're queuing up for, isn't normally available to that age group. It's normally available only to babies. So that's why parents are flocking to try and get this vaccine. Meanwhile, back in the pharmaceutical camp, we've got GlaxoSmithKline, Patrick Vallance, wink, wink. And we've got Pfizer, who are in direct competition with each other, trying to get a 5-in-1 meningitis vaccine out as soon as possible. They've applied for approval. At the moment, I think it's Pfizer that are in the on the winning streak. So this is big business. This is vaccines that people, in my opinion, don't need and shouldn't take. We need to remember that most of us carry this in our bodies anyway. And yet now we're seeing parents literally flocking to the pharmacists, and the pharmacists are saying, we're running out. I mean, literally, people said to me, do you think the public will ever fall for this again? And quite clearly, fear, which is being literally ramped up by the mainstream media and some alternative media is being ramped up, is causing this.
Well, let's look at the fear. So this again is a pattern that we saw in 2020. So this is what we're seeing today from Sky News. Cases rises, and they're telling us it's in France now and here, there, and everywhere. So they are literally bombarding people now.
A lot of African people in France, aren't there too?
There are,
Just saying.
Yeah, there are. I mean, we've just got to be. For me, I just like to be open-minded about stuff. I don't want to live in fear. I'm not living my life in fear. I refuse that. Life's hard enough without being bombarded with a load of fear from the government. Do we know? I mean, you'll look at this more than I do, but I remember in the 90s there was a meningitis kind of scare going on. I was a student at the time, but I was too pissed and too high to give a monkeys. But there was that period of time.
And my son had it in 1995, December 1995.
It was that time, wasn't it? And it was. I remember being told about it happening in student accommodation and this, that, and the other at that period of time. And I remember when my daughter was born, when we're going back to 2006. But you know that was one of the fears you have as a parent.
It's terrifying.
Is meningitis.
I mean, I'm holding it together now, but I can feel it. Even when I talk about it with friends, he's 30 years old, and I still have that, that helpless. As a parent, you're helpless because it's that serious. But what I would say is that at the moment, they're using PCR tests and they're using blood tests.
Okay.
And they're not using lumbar puncture. And lumbar puncture is the way to diagnose meningitis.
Right.
So I'm asking the question, and you said before, deja vu. You said it before. And I'm getting deja vu with these PCR tests because we know how unreliable they are. And it depends on how fast you're cycling them as to what they'll pick up.
Of course, but that was the whole fraud.
So you're going to, how many people are you going to frighten and say, oh yeah, you're positive, you've got to have this, you've got to have that? How many times are they going to do that? So for me, the absence of lumbar punctures is a concern. And you know what? I was a coward. And this is where I get upset because I didn't go in with my 3-week-old baby and hold his hand for that lumbar puncture because I was a coward. I couldn't do it. As a nurse, I knew how dangerous a lumbar puncture can be.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at a 3-week-old baby, they're tiny. And I know that you need a very, very, very experienced anaesthetist to be able to do that. And luckily for me, I had that. But I couldn't watch it. It's not procedure that's easy to watch on anybody, least of all a baby or your own child. It's hard. But what worries me is that they're going to be using PCRs that maybe aren't reliable. They're going to be using blood tests. Who knows where those are going or what they're doing with them in the laboratory. So how do we know any of this data is correct? But all we do know is that parents and youngsters are frightened literally to death.
Well, anyone who's looked into the PCR and the way that it works, and I'd imagine a lot of our audience will have looked into PCR because that was generally the way they, for me, created the fraud of 2020. And they use cases, the word cases. Now they're using the word cases again. Now, if you're saying this is within our nasal cavity, is the PCR just not going to pick that up anyway?
Exactly. I mean, it's in there. So how many are you going to pick up? How many false positives are you going to get? And you know what? I didn't send you because I've been looking at a lot at meningitis in the last 3 days, and I could sit here probably for 3 hours and show you some of the study papers. There's even a study paper that's talking about meningitis post-COVID. So I think I did send it to you actually, but it's probably got lost in all the stuff. But there is a study paper on COVID and
Mhm.
meningitis in the post-COVID era. And this is what Dr. Philip Macmillan's been looking at as well.
Yeah,
All this stuff's out there
yeah,
in plain sight. You've just got to join the dots.
yeah. It's and I think this is it. This is why I like to try and keep my open mind as much as I possibly can. It's
You have to question everything.
I think so.
Parents have to question everything.
I think so. I think we have to.
John.
And you had a lady or a person send you a message there as well.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I still see, you know, Andrew comes in every all the time with the kids, with his kids, gives me a big hug.
Mhm.
And I still feel it. He's still my baby.
Yeah.
And he was the baby. I've got 5 children and he's the youngest. And he was the baby. And it doesn't matter. If you're a mum and you've got a baby that's sick, you feel it forever. So you know.
You mentioned before as well about that maybe, you know, we've been down this route with vaccines in the past few years, and people like ourselves are going to be very skeptical of all of this. But there's a clip here, you may have seen it. Professor Dr. Anjan, I hope I pronounced that right, Gosh, and he's a director of public health at Kent County Council. And he says vaccines are not going to work in breaking. So I think it's interesting. I think it's always interesting to play the counter as well. But this was on mainstream, you know. So
yeah, let's look.
You know, it's worth looking at. Let me bring him on.
It is an evolving picture. So as your reporter said earlier, there are 15 cases confirmed. And obviously, regrettably, and with deep condolences to people who have died, so sympathies to their family. The main priority right now and continues to be prophylaxis. So I think there's an importance. I heard the earlier pieces in clarifying the approach. The approach is to actually identify cases so that they get the right treatment, identify the close contacts of those cases, and make sure that they get prophylaxis through antibiotics. The vaccines are not actually going to work in breaking the transmission cycle for this immediate situation. That is through the prophylaxis. So that's the focus. The vaccines is the longer term piece, where basically it protects people from future infection. So it's kind of an added advantage being given to people who are already getting the prophylaxis and coming in.
So yeah, he's what he's saying. If you want a vaccine, if anybody out there wants a vaccine, and I'm sure people watching this won't want one, but for anybody that listens to that, what he's saying would make sense. I've just said, I said earlier, the vaccine is 2 shots, 1 now, 1 in a month's time. So that's not going to protect anybody right now, this minute, right? It's just not. But if you want to take it and you think that it's going to protect you for another outbreak in 6 months' time or a year's time or whenever, when you need a booster, then go right ahead. But actually what he said there about prophylactic antibiotics, which is giving somebody antibiotics before they get something, or to knock everything out, that was what normally happened. And that's what happened to me, that as soon as my son was diagnosed, the family and the close contacts were given a prescription for rifampicin, and we were told that it would change the color of our urine. Our urine would all be different colors. Some and the family did. Some were gold, some were red, some were a little tinge of green. So that's how toxic this stuff is. But it was the contacts that were given prophylactic antibiotics. For now, the vaccine isn't going to help now, and I doubt the vaccine's going to help. In fact, we've seen evidence already that vaccines, if you want to call them that, can create outbreaks similar to what we're seeing now. But there's so much on it.
Well, that's a question then, Debbie, isn't it? The COVID vaccine, is there a side effect of meningitis?
You see, do you see where we're going? This is a complete minefield. It's an absolute minefield. We're looking at the testing, we're looking at the diagnosis, we're looking at the symptoms, we're looking at the treatment, we're looking at vaccines, we're looking at, this is a big agenda. Meningitis is a big agenda. If you look at the WHO, if you look at Gavi, if you look at CEPI, all of Bill Gates's stuff, the African migrant, the African meningitis belt. And then you have to ask yourself, well, we're having a lot of people from that country. It's the meningitis season, supposedly, according to the African data. So is there a connection? Could there be a connection? We've got illegal migrants that are being treated for tuberculosis with rifampicin, I'm presuming, which is the same antibiotic that you would normally use, or we did in the past. Is there a connection, is all I'm asking.
Well, I'm asking, where's there a convenience as well, and who potentially could gain from this now? Digital
pharmaceutical companies.
Pharmaceutical is clear because they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But also
governments.
And it's hypothetical at this stage, but we know a digital identification has been discussed where you would have to keep your vaccination status updated on those. I mean, again, it's hypothetical, but let's just put it out there.
It's not though, is it? It's what's going to happen.
Well, we kind of know that. I mean, let's be the track and trace thing that they did back in 2021. They spent billions on that. That's not just been shelved. That they don't just chuck it to one side. Forget it. This is all part of that structure. Now, if you can contain people in the digital ID world, which they're doing with the 15-minute citizen, with the energy prices, and we'll get into that in a bit. But it all just seems convenient. I'm not saying it's linked because it's all a bit mad, but hey, it's convenient.
Question
everything. But at the end of the day, where I'm at, me personally, is, and I was like this back in 2020, is I'm not living in fear.
No.
I'm not living in fear. I'm gonna enjoy my life as best as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And that's important. And I want everybody to do that as well. Now, let's be honest, if your next door neighbor fell ill, you'd have concerns for that person, and maybe you would do what you can for that person. I don't know what else I can do but deal with what's right in front of me at a going time. But I am so lacking of trust and faith with anything government tells me. I've got to question.
Yeah,
got to question everything.
You have, and I agree with you. I think we should live our lives, enjoy our lives, take as much pleasure as we can. But then I also think that it's our responsibility to look after ourselves. So if we know what's going on out in the big wide world, as painful and as horrible and as evil as it is, at least we, if nobody else listens, then that's their problem, not ours. But at least we can be as prepared as we can to mitigate any damage. We can be aware. I don't like the word awake. I like the word aware.
Yeah.
And so if we are aware of what is going on and we are aware to question stuff, then that puts us in a good stead. And hopefully other people will soon see what we see. But I think you have to enjoy yourself. You have to get out in the fresh air. I saw kids up a tree the other day. I was so excited. Bless their hearts, they were having an absolute blast. And then I saw a little toddler in a muddy puddle having a great time.
Fabulous.
And I thought, yeah, this is what a muddy puddle. Nothing like a muddy puddle and a poo stick, with a bridge and a stick. And I was seeing kids out, and I was thinking, oh, this is just lovely. None of it, there wasn't a black screen in sight. So yeah, you can't live in fear. And I think people that are watching us and people that know who we are know that we don't work on fear. There's no point in being fearful. What is the point? It's complete and utter no point. What you have to be is prepared, and you don't need to be frightened if you've got a belief that you're on the right side of history, and that if you can sleep at night and your moral compass is in a good place, and you know that what you're saying is authentic and meant from the heart, and that's all you can do. And that to me is part of the enjoyment.
I agree. I agree completely. And we don't have a long time here,
No.
and anything can happen at any point. And let's make the most of whatever, whenever we possibly can. And like you,
Yeah.
so in our estate, it's like going back in time in our estate, because we were a council estate, and it's like going back on time because the kids around here don't have any money. The families don't have any money, so they're out playing.
Yeah,
You know,
it's lovely, isn't it?
they were. It was like back in when I was a kid. The other day, I was driving down the road, and they're creating ramps, and they're going up on the bikes. You know,
Oh,
and that's just like
see,
what
I
we
love
used to
that
do.
kind of stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
as everybody knows, I watch what goes on in the cities, and I'm quite horrified. And I look at what we have down here in Cornwall,
yeah.
and I see the kids in the park, and I see the little school trips, you know, with the teachers, and they're crossing over the road, and they're going down to the park to see something, or they're going off to look at something.
Yeah,
And it just, we've still got a village town feel. Bunting,
good.
we've got,
Good.
yeah, at Christmas we had all the school kids out in the square singing carols, and they were all carrying their lanterns, and it's just a little bit of normality. We're so fortunate, we really are, compared with what I see going on up country. But when you see those precious moments, grab them and remember. And like the blue sky that we've had for the last 3 days, just grab that blue sky, grab that vitamin D, grab that fresh air, and enjoy it. And remember it, take a photograph of it in your head,
Yes.
because the grey days, there's too many grey days, and you need to remember that blue sky.
And continuing on the theme of the fear-based stuff, we certainly have not just this in this country, the meningitis thing that they're throwing at us, but also the Iran war, as we've been talking about for the past couple of days, a couple of sessions that we've had together. We knew that this was going to cause some problems, and they are now talking about the fact that bills are going to go up. There was a report that I read the other day where energy bills are expected to rise by more than £300 this summer. We are seeing, obviously, fuel rise massively. We talked about that last week. And conveniently, they're talking about working at home and staying at home.
Could that be an energy lockdown, do you think?
Well, I remember
Deja
talking
vu
about
again.
this. Yeah,
Deja
well,
vu.
it's you know what? Speaking of deja vu, so let me share this. As you know, Debbie, and some people may know. Now, here's where deja vu comes in. So, 6 years ago, to this very day, I signed for a pub called the Crown, and then I got back to the other pub that we had at the time. And Boris shut the pubs for the pandemic. 2 days ago, I signed for a pub, which
Congratulations!
is and it's the most beautiful pub in a wonderful village, and we're very excited. And then I'm looking at the deja vu of 6 years ago with this outbreak. Energy prices are gonna go through the roof. So I've been working very hard at the moment trying to get some fixed contracts in place, because it's going to cause me massive problems. And speaking of which, I'm going to this place to create fun for people. My whole intention is to create a space for people to enjoy, because life is hard.
Yeah.
And we're all having a hard time. And I want people to come to a space. I'm a very political speaker, as you know. I've got my opinions, I've got my beliefs, but I'm leaving them outside the door. When you step into this pub, that pub is for people to come and enjoy. Anyway, so I'm like, I the morning before I'm going signing for this pub, right? And I couldn't believe what I read. And you may have seen this. And here's Miliband.
Oh.
And he's saying serve warmer beer to save on bills, and that maybe hospitality businesses should turn off the gas, or you know, this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, oh, for crying out loud, Ant, what are you saying?
Does he like warm beer or something? I've never known. I don't know many people that like a warm beer.
Nobody likes a warm beer unless, you know, unless it's cask or a bitter that should be a certain temperature. Nobody wants a warm lager.
No, of course they don't. But I mean, let's tell everybody where your pub is.
Well, it's in Chorley in Lancashire.
And what's it called?
It's called the White Horse.
And you're hoping, now there's nothing guaranteed, is there? But you're hoping when to open.
It's, yeah, here we are. Operation Barstool. Yeah,
yes.
I like that.
I love that. I love that.
We're gonna,
because there's nothing but, do you know what, the pub, it's that reassurance for so many people as well. You see familiar faces, you can have a chat, you can chill out.
Absolutely.
And I've always said, you know, the people that go in at 7 o'clock for half a pint and go home, you know, are they okay? You've seen them tonight. Yeah, I saw Bill, I saw Arthur, I saw Eileen, I saw Jenny. You've seen that person, you know they're okay. It's a community place to be happy, a happiness hub.
It's for the community. That's exactly what it's for. And whatever's going on in this world, the communities most time in crisis, communities will come together. Now, what happened in 2020 was they were able to divide people up because of fear quite easily. You know, so if you were in, you know, you were classed as an anti-vaxxer if you were questioning things, for example. So the division happened quite easily because you were going to be a super spreader. I was classed as a super spreader at the time. You know, you are going to cause problems and you're going to kill granny and all this kind of stuff that was happening. You know, so they really ramped that fear and divided people up. But what we need are people to come together, whatever opinions people are going to have, because we all have different opinions. No matter what happens in this world, doesn't matter what side you bat on, you're going to have your opinion and your belief. But what we need is to come together and enjoy our fucking lives.
Yeah, music,
live music,
chats, banter,
absolutely,
jokes. We're not allowed to do those anymore. Can we
there'll be banter in this pub. Banter is happening. The only things that are not allowed in this pub are MPs.
They're perfect. Perfect.
The politics stays out of the pub, and so do the politicians.
Yeah, I'm sick. Do you know what? I'm sick of these MPs, and there are many of them, and members of the Lords as well. Not just lords, but baronesses as well, that seem to like adopting this, I've got a fag and I've got a pint, and that means that I'm one of you. Because
the Farages of your types, where they'll stand there at the bar and, yeah, we're here for the, but they're not.
I've heard them at the bar. When I was a government advisor at the Department of Health, there was the Red Lion pub right next door to Richmond House, which is right opposite the Cenotaph in Westminster. And if you wanted to know what was if you want to know what's going on, pop in the Red Lion, and just next door to Richmond House, you'll hear the MPs and they talk in the pub. That's where all the business gets done. Maybe you should let them in and we can find out what's going on.
Maybe we'll have politics corner. But let's look at some of the fear, though. I know, because I just think that people need to just see it and try and just kind of
prepare for it.
Well, you know, they're going to throw this at us, aren't they? You know, and what they're chucking right now is obviously fuel going up, but they're also chucking the fact that Britons could be out of work.
Yeah,
you know, they're chucking at the fact that you will have to work from home. So, like you were saying, energy lockdowns. There is a potential. I remember having these conversations again back in 2020 with people saying, you know, this is the climate change agenda would work for a climate lockdown, because at the lockdown period when they had that first one and we had the beautiful weather, March 2020, beautiful weather that we had, and they were saying how much better it was for the environment. So we had if you connect all these dots like you do, you can see these patterns that they kind of play. Now, they don't want people traveling, so the 15-minute cities, perfect. Electric cars, they want us to move away from fossil fuels. They're talking about sustainability. So this is again very convenient, isn't it? Very convenient kind of ploy where they price us out of a market. We have to then buy EVs, electric vehicles, which have kill switches, by the way.
I know. Everything's got a kill switch now. Have you noticed? Everything's got a kill switch. No thanks.
Yeah.
Including humans, by the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a dark road to follow, but essentially that's the potential is there with transhumanism to have kill switches. Absolutely, it's quite terrifying. Really, it's quite
It's
terrifying.
more than terrifying. I think it's
It
more
is.
than terrifying.
So,
But we don't. But we need to, like you said, you know, that's why your pub is going to be. People need to come together, because if you're pissed off with the government for whatever reason, whether it be energy, whether it be Iran, whether it be Gaza, whether it be whatever, it doesn't matter. It
yeah,
doesn't matter what religion you are either. If you're pissed off with the government and you don't like the way that this country's going, then, you know, join Camp 3. That's what we're here for. We're trying to join everybody together and because since COVID was non-political. You were either pro the agenda or anti the agenda, and it seemed to be fairly cut and dried. You were either pro-vax or anti-vax. And even anti-vaxxers, I was never anti-vax, but I've certainly become anti-vax now.
yeah.
But now that you get all the political everything, you get this political divide and division. We've just got to go. Kill switch sounds like a cool name for a drink. God, that'll be next. Honestly, that'll be next. Let's not talk about food and insects and all the rest of it. But no, this is where we're going. We're going towards lock up, and the thing is that lock up, lock down, whatever you want to call it, but we're not going to get a choice in it this time, because essentially, if there's no fuel and there's no petrol, people are going to have to make decisions about what journeys they make. Are they going to take the kids to school? Or are they going to drive themselves to work? Or are they going to go and pick up their mother-in-law? Or are they going to whatever? You know, people are going to have to make decisions. So eventually, I think they've already talked about what would happen if Asda or Tesco rationed you to 15 litres, for example. How long would that last you? And it's got the knock-on effect, not just on energy, not just on oil, not just on fuel, but on food. So now everybody's forecasting food shortages. So you can see the fear.
That's right, yeah.
It's coming in from every angle, whether it's the health angle with meningitis,
what about medicines?
Energy.
Medicines,
shortages.
You know, shortages of medicine. So, the Iran war could cause problems with that, but yet we've got an outbreak.
And what if the outbreak is resistant to antibiotics? The antibiotics that we get from China. China again.
China.
So what if the bacterial infection, whatever, is antibiotic resistant? And when you talk about antimicrobial resistant, this is antifungals, antimicrobials, antibiotics. And then all of a sudden you've got the agenda, antimicrobial resistance, disease X. We're all going to have a new novel antibiotic made of what, excuse me? From Pfizer or Moderna, would that be? No thanks.
mRNA. No, this is the thing. Again, there's the patterns I look at.
Yeah, me.
And
it's similar, isn't it?
There's similar patterns. There's questions to be asked. There's convenience. There's chaos, which order is already in place and ready to be rolled out. The order 100%. Is 15-minute cities, digital identification. People work at home, so they don't want you working out. People don't want you to travel. UB, universal basic income, all these kind of things. You know, it's convenient. That's all I'm saying.
But it isn't. That's just it. It's not. It's a pain in the bloody arse. And I wrote an X because I've been reading. I reread The Great Reset, Klaus Schwab.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And in it, he said that for years and decades, the behavioural scientists and governments have been trying to get people to go digital. They've been trying to entice people to go online, to do things via websites, and people were resistant. Many people my age were resistant. People just didn't want to do it. They preferred to go to the shop. They preferred to see people face to face. They preferred to go into the bank. So COVID was a way, within 72 hours, they drove the whole global population onto the internet, whether it was a pensioner that needed shopping from Tesco that had to online deliver, whether it was mum and dad who had to do Zoom meetings from home, whether it was the kids who were gaming all the time because they had nothing else to do when they weren't on the online school, whether it was the socialization on Facebook and Twitter and X, whether it was ordering things through Deliveroo and Uber. It got everybody conditioned to accepting the internet. That was lockup was all about. And if you lock people up again, they're going to go exactly back to that same pattern of being on Zoom, doing things remotely, because we've normalized it. That's the danger.
You're absolutely right. And normalization is part of the fourth industrial revolution. That's what it is.
It really, I mean, we say to people, this is the Great Reset. It's here, folks. It's happening. Somebody's pulling a lever and they're changing our lives forever. That is what is happening.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
Read the book.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I say, just keep looking at the dots. Connect those dots,
joining the dots. Keep looking at Trump as well, because when he gets up in the morning, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful country. I have a beautiful whack-a-mole board and ahead of me. Which country will I have today? Will it be Will it be the UK? Will it be Canada? Will it be Greenland? Am I going to close the Hormuz? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do? I mean, it's like, what? Seriously?
I know it's
mad. We're watching a cartoon.
Oh, it's mad, isn't it? I want to bring something up about Trump in a second, but can I just ask a question? Well, we'll move on from this, but can I ask a question? I want to bring Rachel Reeves up, and then I know, I'm sorry. I know, I'm sorry.
Rachel from accounts, bless her.
Rachel from accounts. Let's bring her on a minute. Let's listen.
There is an important role for oil and gas, especially at the moment. You see countries like Canada and Norway increasing their production, and every country's got to play their part in ensuring that those energy supplies are there when we need them.
Okay, my question is here, and Trump brought this up.
Drill, baby, drill.
What's going on? Do we not have a supply of our own, like at the north of Scotland? Do we not have?
Huge.
Then
huge.
Why did we stop?
Because we mustn't drill the North Sea because it's environmental. So we have to get these little tiny windmills that do nothing.
Okay.
They're from China.
There you go. So again, convenient, sustainable nonsense.
But then you see, I'm saying this isn't convenient. So all of these things that we're being told for convenience drives me mad.
Yeah, but I'm just doing it like that. I'm saying
it
because they say it's convenient. But what happened in the 80s with the coal? And we're not having. I mean, this has been going on a long time.
Yeah.
This has been going on a long time, and they attack the working class,
of course,
as always, because we're the peasants that they can stamp all over.
They're trying to eliminate the middle and working class. They're trying to just take them away, so everybody's low class or elite. There's nothing in the middle. They don't want the working class. They want slaves.
Let's move on. In between, the next topic we'll go in is very deep. So let's just have a little bit of fun with this one. We're speaking about Donald Trump and what he said with
Oh, you've gone mute, Ant. I don't know if you can hear me, but you're mute.
Something went wrong there. I can hear me.
It shows we're live. It's great when something goes wrong because it shows we're live.
Can you hear me? I don't know what happened there, but it's sharing the wrong screen. Bear with me. Here we go.
Because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right?
You know, did you hear the pin drop then?
No, you believe in surprise, I think, much more so than us. And we had to surprise him, and we did.
I mean,
honestly,
what is with that guy at all?
Did you see them embracing? And they're kind of hugging each other like they're in love. It was embarrassing.
No, I didn't see that bit. I mean, how crazy.
The whole thing's mad. And we've had it going on though in London as well. We've had who's Keir been? Keir's had Mark Carney. He's had Zelensky. He's had the Norwegian Prime Minister. I mean, it's been, and the King, not my King, King Charles. I mean, talk about reading the room. He's wandering around the palace, looking at the state banquet of vases and vases and vases and vases of flowers, of food, beautiful tables, long gown. Honestly, talk about read the room. But yeah, it's been busy. They're all entertaining everybody and smarming up until Trump wants to call Keir Starmer out because he doesn't like him anymore because he's not playing ball.
Right. we haven't got massively long, but this is a very important point to make. Something happened in the House of Lords this week. Let's play this clip, and then I'm going to let you get on with it, Debbie, before we bring in some kind of funny ending to lighten it up, because this is a very, very difficult subject to discuss. So let's just bring this clip up.
My lords, there have voted contents 148, not contents 185, so the not contents have it.
So what is it they voted for there, Debbie?
So they voted. Now, people have got different interpretations of this. And I got myself, well, I put a post up actually on X about this, but this is about abortion.
Yeah.
And what they've said is that women will now not be prosecuted for carrying out their own abortion up to term. So that's up to the point of birth. A woman will not be criminally prosecuted for aborting or murdering her baby. So a lot of people jumped online and said they've made abortion legal up until term. No, they haven't done that. What they've said is that women can do it themselves, DIY abortions.
Whoa.
They're not suggesting that doctors and medical professionals are assisting in this. So it's still the 24-week limit, but they will not criminally prosecute. Now, there were, I think, 500 lords that didn't vote. 185 voted and it went through. And 81 of those were baronesses, i.e. they were women. And one of those baronesses was Baroness Claire Fox. And I was very surprised and disappointed to see her name there. For whatever reason, and she's put out her reasons, in fairness to her, and I will be fair to her, in that she has put out her reasons of why she voted for this.
Yeah.
Those aren't the reasons that I agree with. But she did, and she said, I put out a post and said named and shamed, or somebody put out a post to say that all these people have been named and shamed, and I named and shamed Baroness Fox. And she replied and said, I will be named because this is what I said.
Yeah.
But I will not be shamed for sticking to my beliefs and my opinions. But at least she replied to me. And then Dan Wootton jumped in. Lawrence Fox jumped in. You know, can we interview you? And I think, actually, let me bring in people like Victoria Rickson. Let me bring in people like Kate Shemarani.
Great. Victoria Rickson would be
in
great.
people like Baroness Monckton, who was actually opposing the amendment, was putting forward an amendment to oppose it. Let's bring in a balanced people, and let's bring in women. Let's have a debate with women, shall we? Because this, to me, opens up a whole new ball game where you could be looking at backstreet abortions. Who is going to feel coerced that they have to do this at term? What woman in their right mind, honestly, will kill their baby at term? What woman will do? I can't even begin. It's got to be, they've got to be either completely desperate, or they're being coerced or forced into something. And I think it sets a very dangerous precedent of pushing things underground. So things, we go back to backstreet abortions again, you know, for people because they can't do it themselves and they've been threatened, perhaps. I don't know. There's a myriad of reasons. And whatever your reasons are on abortion, and everybody's got their own private, personal reasons, including myself, all of us, all women especially, have their own reasons and what their beliefs. But this, for me, was absolutely abhorrent, and it shouldn't even have come up for discussion in the first place. And it slipped through the Lords, as did slip through the Lords the fact that hereditary peers are now being banned from the Lords. That's gone. It's just gone. Nobody was told about it. You probably didn't see it on your front page because everybody's too busy talking about Iran or meningitis. But the hereditary peers have now gone. So all of this has been going on in the Lords. And I have to say publicly to Baroness Claire Fox, I would really love a discussion with you, a genuine discussion. I don't want to, I'm not setting you up. I'm not trying to belittle you. I'm asking for an open, honest debate. And I'm sorry if you felt named and shamed. I'm sorry I used that picture as well, because she said she hated that picture. And I apologize for using that picture. But I'd like a debate on it. But maybe she'd like to debate with us as opposed to other people. That would be good. But I still remain very disappointed and very upset and very angry that this has come in the, and I cannot, Joanna, I cannot think of any woman who would have bought full term either. It's beyond demonic. The only thing that I can think of is that they would be in a desperate position, or forced, coerced. But I think it's a very dangerous path that we're going down. And I did get myself that X did kind of explode a bit for Baroness Fox. I think it had over 107,000 views, and it probably had nearly 800, I think, retweets. So it did cause a lot. And I don't think she's ever going to be able to redeem herself from that, because Claire Fox has been talking up. She's been saying a lot of great stuff. And people have agreed with a lot and been grateful for the fact that she's managed to see things that we've seen. And this is very disappointing. And I'm not sure if she can come back from it, but we'll see.
Well, you have to ask questions. You have to raise points. You know, if we can't do that, then we you know, what kind of society are we in anyway, where we can't have those conversations, where you get shut down. So fair play to you, Debbie. You know, I think
she said she didn't like the internet being used as a form of stocks. She objected to that. She said it was a weak argument, but that, you know, I'm not in a position where I can ring her up and have a chat and invite her for an interview. I'm not in a position to do that. She doesn't follow me, so I can't DM her to ask her for an interview or to ask her to come on here and explain. So what else was I meant to do? I was surprised and disappointed to see her name, and I still am surprised and disappointed to see her name on that list.
I think it's fair play to you, Debbie.
But I know you've got a couple of other things, and I know we're running short of time, but I just want to give everybody a little exclusive. Can I give everybody
do that?
Exclusive?
Yeah, do that, and then we're going to have some fun.
I met somebody this week, a very, very, very old friend who works in Switzerland, and they are a cryptocurrency security master. Top of the tree, cryptocurrency. And I didn't know that there were these decoders, but he's a decoder. So he has a very high level of security clearance, works for a financial institution, cryptocurrency. And he was saying that he felt slightly uncomfortable and had spoken to a number of colleagues about the fact that he was having to listen in and decode conversations of people who supposedly were moving money from Dubai to Switzerland. That's where the money from Dubai is going. It's going to Switzerland because there's a lot of tax loopholes and very low tax in Switzerland. And I didn't realize that Switzerland was such a secret place. So this person that I met is only allowed out of the country for 1 week of the year to work. Wow. Anything else is security and it's privacy, and everything is locked in Switzerland. And I also didn't know that, you know, when we use Apple Pay, well, I don't, but a lot of people use Apple Pay and PayPal and all these different payment apps. Oh, not in Switzerland. No. You've got your own exclusive pay app, one app in Switzerland called Twint, TWINT. Right. And that is to keep data extremely private and insular kept within Switzerland.
Interesting.
So I mean, you think about Switzerland, you think about the Bank of International Settlements, who have got their own government, who have got their own police force, you know. You've got Davos, the World Economic Forum, you've got Zurich, you've got there's so much going on. You've got CERN, you've got so much going on in Switzerland.
Yeah.
But what I hadn't realized was that it was so secret, even within, the citizens that live. And each citizen, by the way, in Switzerland has a place in a bunker. They already have underground bunkers. Every single citizen is accommodated for in Switzerland. Just saying. It was a little bit of inside information that I got that I thought I'd just pass on here.
Very interesting.
Isn't it?
Very interesting.
Money from Dubai going to Switzerland.
Oh, there you
Interesting. There's a dark side of Dubai too. We'll talk about that another time, but there's a dark side of Dubai. But money going from Dubai to Switzerland makes sense, right?
Well, Paul's just said Trump's crypto business is dealing with Dubai too.
Interesting when you join the dots. Twin sounds like a rude word. It does, doesn't it? Check it out. It's Switzerland's own private payment app.
Interesting.
And they have guns too. Yeah, you're right.
Well, it's been another interesting week, Debbie, and I thought we always like to try and end it with a bit of fun. We've got a couple of minutes of some music. I thought we'll have some music. We'll go back to the 80s a little bit.
Oh, let's do it.
And let's see this week's show out with some music. What on earth are we going to be dealing with next week?
I'm going to be keeping my eyes on every. But you know what? I'd also say to people, anybody that's watching, we're really super grateful. It's only a tiny little channel still. We're growing, but we try to bring you news that you won't get anywhere else, or a different angle on stuff. And let us know what you want us to talk about, or what points you want us to talk about, and we'll do some research and bring you into the conversation. And let's talk. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
We're never short of anything, though, are we? Because the week just gives us what we need. Really, you can't.
Well,
we're never
I'm
short.
not called Gobby Granny for nothing, am I? I've heard the title.
Are you ready for some music then?
I am, certainly am.
All right. Listen, guys, thank you so much. Really, really, really appreciate
it.
Yeah, please do. And keep smiling, as Debbie says. Keep smiling.
Good luck with the pub, because you've got so much to do with the pub this week.
Knackered.
Send us some pictures for next week.
I will. I might even do next show in the pub if we get the internet in by then.
That'd be brilliant.
Yeah. Right, let's play it. Enjoy.
Bye, everyone.
Looks like I kind of fucked up. You've seen the polls, and so have I. I got elected on no new awards, and now we'll be lucky if moonstones time to fly. I tried to cover up the Epstein files. Seems as though I'm a pedophile. Always gonna keep you up, always gonna let you down, always gonna stab your back and betray you. Always gonna make you sigh, always gonna make you cry, always gonna tell you lies and betray you. I've been president for so long, then all this 6 years out, the swan's still in training, and side with both know what's been going wrong. Israel's got tapes of me diddling children, and if you wanted deportations, I've been less than Obama did. Always gonna keep you in, always gonna let you down, so can you turn around, I'll backstab you. Always gonna make you sigh, always gonna make you cry, always gonna tell you lies and betray you. Always gonna keep you up, always gonna let you down, so can you turn around, I'll backstab you. Always gonna make you sigh, always gonna make you cry, always gonna tell you lies and betray you. Bring it every breath, screaming, ooh, all the kids, children. Always gonna give you up, always gonna let you down, second you turn around, I'll backstab you. Always gonna make you sigh, always gonna make you cry, always gonna tell you lies. Always gonna give you up, always gonna let you down, I'll backstab you. Always gonna make you cry.